Greetings and welcome to SmartWatchTix.com. We've got a box full of Android right here. Brand new Android smartwatch. And this one is a super duper one. This has got the high memory configuration on it as well. Let's take a look at it. It is the APPLLP 7 Pro. Pro, I'm pretty sure, is because of the upgrade in RAM and ROM. We'll get into that as we dive into it. Look at this. Have you ever seen a gold Android watch? Oh, it looks like the belt came off in transit, so we'll take that out and fix it for you. In the meantime, I want to tell you, TomTop is a supplier of this one for us, and we really appreciate it if you use a link in the show notes to pick it up, because these are expensive for them to send out for review. I'd like to make sure if you're interested that you can help them out as well. Look at this, 4 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage in a watch? Insane! Man, you can put all kinds of stuff on that. It's a little bit pricey. Hopefully we'll have a show discount for you as well. Check the notes below for a link. However, if that's a little out of range, you can get the same exact watch, all the different configurations in gold or black for a lot less, 140 or so, with 2 gigabytes of RAM and 16 gigabytes of storage. Now, it wasn't too long ago when that was sounding like huge, and it's a decent amount. 2 gigabytes is just at the edge before it's going to start looking sluggish and stuff and locking up on you. Wouldn't go any lower than that for sure. 16 gig? Well, if you don't use a lot of heavy video or music or whatnot, that should be plenty for working with your apps. So a reasonable $140 Android smartwatch, but if you really want the top of the line, you can pick up the Pro, basically, with 4 gigabytes and 128 gigs. Now, overall specs on this one, I know, I still use paper. I grew up on it. I love it. Just the touch of it is, and the smell. You ever smell a ream of new paper? I digress. Here we go. The features. We've seen a lot of Android watches before, and this is a similar Android watch. We're going to walk ourselves through all the different features in it, but you can skim this list, get an idea of what they're trying to convey to you. You got fitness and health, GPS, of course, lots of watch faces, more you can install from a server, and of course you can sideload plenty of watch faces from lots of different resources. In terms of parameters or specs, it's a 1.6 inch full screen, 400 by 400 pixel resolution. We've got nano SIM, the 2 different configurations on here. It's a 5 megapixel camera, which is a little on the light side by today's standards, but it's functional. And you've got Android 9.1 as the operating system with this one. You're looking at 1,000 milliamp hour battery. About 2 days of battery life with that and 3 hours to charge it. And these are the different languages supported right there. And again, a little wrap up of your dimensions and measurements as well. Okay, let's slide this up and at least get the watch out of here. Wow. Okay, it's normally wrapped around a little card there. And you saw I had to slit it to get it open, so I haven't had a chance to prepare it for you. It's got the regular quick release tab here, so it's as simple as just lining the hole up, pushing the button to put it back in again. Nice TPU band. The charging apparatus, looks like there's a little bit of plastic over the sensors. You always want to check that. That little hole, we're seeing that show up on more of them. It's kind of a pressure relief thing on here. There's another little hole there. They're getting better and better at the science of this. There's the camera with gold buttons on the side. That's where your SIM card goes in. Really interesting design. There's the speaker here on the top. So if you twist your wrist, you can hear directly here. It's in a really good position for that. And just a little bump out on the bottom side here. Okay, what else have we got? In the box, and it is a box, a sealed box. This is the little piece of material that the thing is wrapped around. We have a manual. We have a little QC thing, quality control. The here's the SIM release tool that was in there, and the connector for holding the watch. Nice and sturdy, good and strong. 4-pin connector. Most of you guys know the outer two are for power, the inner two are for data transfer, so you can move data from your computer over to the watch, video, audio, whatever you'd like is capable. And then the manual, and it's actually for the APPLLP 7. We're going to page through this here for you. And it's a little bit of text and pictures combination. Going to just show it on the screen and let you freeze frame it if you want to read it in detail. We won't go through it because I know you actually want to get into the watch. Well, that was good. Only a couple of pages. It's just the basic to get you started. Lots of different languages. Obviously, I need to reassemble it, charge it up, and we'll begin. Here we go, all put together. It's a nice combination, the gold buttons and black. It's kind of a rose gold. You can see the pure gold of the Generation 3 Aura ring right here. Man, this is really something. But the nice rose gold works well for male or female. We've got a little cover on it. We've got a button to push. The top one will turn it on. But before I do that, I just wanted to take the little tool to eject the little tray so you guys could actually see the SIM card process here. Oh boy, you really need fingernails. There we go. Simple little thing. You just put it on the tray and shove it in, your nano SIM card, and push it way in there, and it should lock in place, and that'll get you going for your cellular communication. Let's tap the button. Wait a second. It just vibrated, and it's going to boot up with the LOKMAT logo. Now, there's a few different changes and enhancements in this one from what we've seen in previous Android 9.1 smartwatches. We'll cover those first, and then we'll switch over and kind of go through everything. There's the beginning logo. Now, you notice the sound in the picture were off. If you're used to that logo, when the things explode in the middle is when the sound's supposed to go poof. So there's a little bit of alignment problem on that, but I mean, that's minor. It's taking a little while to boot up. It gets into an opening watch face. This is one I chose in particular to show you guys for this gold watch. And wow, look at that. The blood oxygen sensor, red sensor, is already flashing. I like this one. It's a good combination of yellows and golds and blacks and stuff to work with this kind of design. Black, of course, you can get the whole watch in a different color. I guess if it's just touching my screen, it's automatically going to start the blood oxygen, which is all new, you know. It's only been recently they've had the addition of the red diodes in here. So being Android 9, you've got this starting page here that shows you your hookup for Bluetooth, your power level, and SIM card capability. We slide over, and now you get into a wheel of different connected things like your location, your Wi-Fi. Both of those I have on for our demo purposes. Bluetooth would turn on for tethering to the phone. Airplane mode, of course. And that cellular data in the middle, do not disturb, is up there. Now, you notice something missing on this one? Yeah, there's not an icon for twist your wrist on and off, so you have to manually go into settings if you want to have it activated so it'll light the screen when you twist your wrist. Not an AMOLED screen, although you get a good viewing angle on it, but because it's not AMOLED, you cannot have always on mode with this watch or any of these Android watches. It's been a long time since we had AMOLED screen. So just know that you'll have to set the timeout, and that it's a trade-off between how long the display stays on like this versus how fast your battery's going to drain. All a big game with these Android watches and figuring that out. We slide over once we get into an app drawer. We'll come back there. Over here is your fitness area. And you see we got the basic stuff. Rope skipping is the last one, and badminton. I mean, these are the ones we've seen for years now. Outdoor run, outdoor walk, and indoor run are keyed to GPS if you have that turned on, and you can get a track. Otherwise, it's just going to use step count or the things that don't involve involve stepping are going to be just, basic heart rate data and calories burned and such. We swipe that way, we get notifications. Swipe up, we get step count. Done a little bit of activity with this to give you some data. It's a nice crisp black it's looking like against the white here. Here we have a music player. If you have any music set up, you can go in here and you have the ability to adjust the volume from the player, which is nice. And then weather in your area, which I haven't been able to sync up yet, even though I've got Wi-Fi on. I probably need to tether it to the phone and link the location from the phone to the watch. I'm not sure why. It's always a game to try to get the weather, but when it comes in, it pops, and you got Fahrenheit and centigrade on the display. Those are the three screens you see at the bottom. That's the middle screen. That's this way and this way to the app drawer. Now, phone, contacts, and SMS, as we know, are tied to the SIM card. There's no Bluetooth tethering with this. You have to have an independent SIM card in there. Let's look through quickly some of the new stuff. Here's blood oxygen. We've seen heart rate before. Blood oxygen, you tap into that one. It's asking you to wear it really good. I'm going to put it on the tip of my finger and see if we can get a measurement off of it. Let's clear all the clutter out of here. There, I skipped ahead a little bit so that we don't waste your time waiting. And you see it's 97% or so is what it's registering. So that, 96. It runs for a while, and it's, again, assessing your blood oxygen. Heart rate, of course, is simple. It comes in here, does the same thing. Give you the same size digits. It's generally a little bit faster. We'll wait till I get a number on here. 61, okay, and now take a look. It's using the green diodes for that. So we are at the more advanced state-of-the-art sensor technology in these newer Android watches. This is relatively new too. Last night's sleep time. I took it to bed to see what we would get, and look at this. You actually get a chart and everything. Hope to see this kind of firmware update for some of the earlier Android 9 watches. I don't know if it's out. If you know, if you've gotten an update, please tell us in the comments what your watch model is and if you got sleep and blood oxygen. I think blood oxygen, you're going to have the sensor for the red sensor for that, but sleep time may be just based on the sensors that are already in there. But you get an overall sleep score as well as a breakdown between awake, light, and deep. It's not tracking REM sleep now or heart rate variability or any of the advanced stuff a lot of the watches do that are fitness based. But for an Android watch, that's pretty darn cool. And that's in the sleep. Breath training is another area that's brand new. This will not even begin until it gets you your heart rate registered, because it's going to tell you how well you're doing. Most of the time, these breathing apps, they just inhale and exhale, and that's it. You can set your time more than a minute if you want to, but you can start once it's got the heart rate, and I won't show you, but the green diodes are doing their thing in the back. And you saw I was at 62, and it's giving you a circle to inhale and exhale. Now, there's no vibration until right now. And when I said now, that's a very subtle but present little vibration. So you know on the inhale, you've got about 5 little vibrations, and then it's going to stop, and then you can exhale. For me, this is too fast. I tend to have this rhythmic breathing thing so I can talk forever on one breath and not have to stop until I completely run out of air, and that's a really long time, you see? So I could take really long, slow breaths. One of my complaints with these is it's rare to find an app built into a watch that is slow enough for me. But if you've been exercising a lot, you're going to be breathing heavy, and so this might work for that. A little more advanced watch would allow you to contour that somewhat, but hey, it's a start, and it's pretty darn good. Okay, it's telling me I'm normal. It gives me my synopsis of that. I can reset it, shows you what I was before. I was at 62. I'm now at 85 because I've been active and talking and moving, and that's what you get when you do breath training. So those are some of the newer features now. In terms of camera, let's talk about that. Very rare now to see only one camera on an Android watch, but that's what we've got. It's here on the side, and this is it. Come into here, and you get a 5-megapixel camera. Now it immediately bumps the brightness of the screen to full, which is why it looks kind of washed out. Let's take a picture of my hand, and let's slide over here to bring it up. And here you go. I've got it set to take a 16 by 9 picture, and it'll always do it vertical. So it's like holding your cell phone up. In order to get it sideways, you have to tilt your watch one way or another like this, okay, to get a landscape. So it's kind of in this vertical thing. I can double tap and zoom in. There's that nice ring. Double tap again and zoom out. Zoom in, zoom out. It does support pinch and zoom on here. Oh no, I'm sorry, it doesn't. I thought it didn't because I tried it earlier. It's actually, I think, it's actually seeing one finger touching and giving it the equivalent of a double tap. Yeah. So you have that level of illumination or zooming and back again. Now here's a picture I shot outside with the standard 5-megapixel orientation, and I can zoom in and back again. And those are the leaves. So 5-megapixel is okay, fairly decent. That's what we're getting here. And then here's a vertical one. Okay, and then you see the orientation is a little bit different. Also, the white balance was slightly different there too. And there's that picture. Now that's when we slid over right from the camera itself. If I leave the camera and I come here into the gallery and I come into the folder, now I have a little bit more information for you. I can come in and show you in details that this is a 1440 by 2560, multiply it out, you'll see what we got, and when it was taken and so forth, its file size, the model it was taken on, and such. So you get some deep information in here. Double tap, oh wow, look at that, it went halfway in. Double tap again, it went further in. Double tap again and it goes back. So you have two different ways of looking at pictures, whether you're looking at them from the camera by sliding over or from the gallery by going in this way. Here I am a little bit zoomed in, and notice I do not have pinch and zoom. I don't have 2-finger or more recognition on the screen. Double tap again, double tap, there we go, and double tap back out again. Okay, we gave you the dimensions on the vertical type. Here is the full 5-megapixel is 1944 by 2562. And of course it's not shooting 5 megabytes, it's a 5-megapixel, right? This is the megabytes of the file and more information about it. Okay, so that's pretty much the camera. There's only one on the side, and we haven't even seen it on yet. One of the problems we have with side cameras, and it doesn't go away until you change your anatomy and cut off your hand, is the fact that when you have a camera on the side, you tend to be looking at this great big thing that blocks the view, and that's your wrist. So to get the camera, you got to walk around with your hand down like that. And again, if I wanted it vertical, okay, I'd have to twist it like that, or the other way. It's, of course, if it's up by my face, it's easier to do. And you take a picture and you get a landscape view. You take it this way, and it's going to be a vertical view this way, as you saw in the pictures. It's just the way it works. They have not yet come up with a camera module mounted sideways on a camera, even up here when they're on the top. It's a vertical, like you're holding your phone type of a picture. You got to get creative, bending this way to get your picture. All right, I know I'm belaboring it, but it's a question that comes up a lot with folks. Okay, we got calendars in here, alarm clocks, music player, a little voice recorder, kind of another new thing in here. We don't see voice recorders on some of the other earlier watches, but here in this version of the Android 9.1, we have one, and I'm talking at my regular loud production voice. So we can add that here, say check mark, and come over to File and take a listen to it. We don't see voice recorders on some of the other earlier watches, but here in this version of the Android 9.1, we have one, and I'm talking at my regular loud production voice. So it sounds to me really decent. There's crispness, there's bass, there's treble, it's all there, and you can just throw it away and be done with it. Yes, you can transfer these voice recordings out of here to anything, a computer, a phone, whatever you want. You can do it wirelessly using a third-party app like, darn, I use it all the time and I forgot, AirDroid. AirDroid's what I transfer my film videos, what you're looking right now, to my computer for editing. You can use that as an Android app on the watch as well. You got your overall file manager that shows you the capacity of this watch is a whopping 128 gigabytes, and I've only used, including the operating system, 17 of it, so 110 gigabytes available. Guys, you could actually use this as a flash drive to back up your files at work or whatever. You can do it with the wire, you can do it wirelessly over Wi-Fi, all kinds of different ways. And of course you can store movies and everything you want in here. Weather's weather. Let's try, just for the sake of it, oh, I touched it, sorry. Come in here to see if I can get anything. It does this little dance, and the other one just showed a little cloud, and it's not yet acquired. But I haven't spent a lot of time trying to figure that out. Again, I got to tether it to the phone, I think, to, at least first time. It's one of those issues where first time hookup switches it to the GPS or GLONASS or whatever in your area, and from there on it's a little better and a little easier. Go into fitness here. Before I jump into that, you see the layout is a bit different than what we've been used to. Outdoor run, walk. There's a bunch more, just not sliding. I want to go to outdoor walk. I want to come over here. First one shows you what you've done. Second one, this is where you turn on or off GPS. A slight change in this is if you have this turned off and you begin an activity where it normally shows your distance, it's going to show a shoe. But if you have this turned on, it shows a little icon for GPS. Now here's an outdoor walk. They have not fixed the Chinese translation 100% yet. The date, the information is on here, and I've got a historical track, supposedly, and there it is. Now, we're looking down on top of my house. If I zoomed out, you'd see my whole neighborhood and then the whole world if you zoom far enough out. I can zoom in, though, and you can see it's fairly accurate. It's generally around the house area. I didn't quite act that catatonic, and that one's way off over here where it says it started. So its initial pickup of the point wasn't right, but I did end on that side of the house. Anyway, there's the walk that I did around the area here, and that's stored on the watch, and all of these are stored within the records, which is the second dot when you're in the overall activity section. You got the same items that you had before when we looked at them on the right hand side. They're just different icons. So two different ways of accessing fitness, but make sure, guys, the first thing you do is come into fitness, go over to things and turn that on. Even if you've activated GPS from back here, you've turned on GPS and location services, make sure you do it in the fitness app as well in order to get that little Easter egg trick you got to know about. Okay, I want to show you a few more little good new things here. We're going to go into desktop settings. This is your dial selection. Same thing you get if you press and hold. You have access, of course, at the very end to the little plus sign to download some from the server. You have this customizable one. You can put your own picture in and hit the little gear down there to set up where you want the time to show. With the trash can above it means this has been downloaded from a server or side-loaded, and this is from the server. I've got a few little watch faces that I added on here. Now the trash cans disappear. Oh, I guess you got to pause on it. So I'm going to bring that one up just to show you some of the detail of the pixels on this. It's pretty clear overall. Nice looking watch. That we got to from desktop settings, dial selection. Now menu style is a bit different. This is how your apps are going to appear in the app drawer, and we can have them curved, we can have them linear, you can have them 3 in a row, or you can have a clock with them around here and just change the pages. Will change that, but it'll still show you the time. We've looped around also to a 4x grid. That's another one. Okay, so I like to do it because we're going through linearly here, the curved version of these, straight, curved. You see the slight difference there, and that's where we are right now. Now you could also get to these at any time by pressing and holding on the screen and bypass all of that, just like you would on the watch faces. And that was all in desktop settings. And then switch styles is default pushing. You got a whole bunch of colorful things on how it changes pages. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I'll let you discover that on your own. Something you can play with. But I do want to show you themes. Themes is kind of different. This is what your icons look like currently, and you can hit check mark to accept it. But come back here, I can slide up, there we go, and get cartoon style, or colorful ones like this, or this kind. Of course, you have to rememorize all of your icons, because that's what they're going to be when you change them. Let's take that one and see what we've got. That's going to change them all now. Loading done, waiting, okay. And come over here and look. Whole different way of displaying your icons. Kind of fun. That was in theme. Google's Google, Play Store's Play Store, Map, and all that are the same. Optimization hasn't shifted. We still have the game we got to do with Clean Task. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please watch another Android 9 watch review, and I go into a lot of detail. So we're going to save time skipping that. Screen lock. Don't forget your password or your pass pattern. It really is a pain. You have to completely flash your firmware back to the watch, which you don't want to do. So make sure if you lock your screen, you know how to get into it, okay? Third-party app adapter and app freeze are all kind of things that are good to know for optimizing your watch, but today we're just doing an unboxing. Here's your watch face store. This is the same as when you press and hold and go to the very end and hit the plus sign. These are the different faces that you've got. They're pretty much the same. They're coming from a server, so no matter what Android watch you've got, this is what it looks like now, if it's at least Android 9 or 10. And there's a bunch of them on here, and you just simply pick it and say download. It'll take a moment to pull it in. Of course, you got to be on Wi-Fi. Did I mention that? I've already set the watch up on Wi-Fi. And now if I come back, you'll see that's the watch face that is selected there. Wow, good choice. Looks really nice in the gold watch, doesn't it? If anything, I'm impressed that you can finally get one of these in a different color than black. It's almost like if we got to see an Apple Watch that was round. I mean, it would be an earth-changing event. The App Store is different than the Play Store. You've got a few specialized apps in here that you can download. Usually I do go ahead and accept the calculator, and I'll get that one, and then install a Stopwatch. Those are nice. It also gives you third-party kinds like WhatsApp and Facebook. Here's a flashlight. I'll take those. I recommend you do WhatsApp or Facebook from the Google Play Store, so you know you've gotten it through the official Google sources. Now, those new apps should be on here at the end, and they are Stopwatch, Flashlight, Calculator, and Assistant. We're going to go to just about now, because I do want to show you the Y Watch. That's not how you say it. I'm going to give you the official pronunciation too. But the Tethering App, which we get by connecting to the phone. And then you can do remote captures and remote music and find your device. All that, you have to be tethered. And this is, the Assistant is the area where you're tethered. Just to show you what it looks like if you download it. Hello, there we go. There's your calculator. Not too fancy and colorful, but functional. Right? With commas, okay. Your flashlight is on, off, to find your way home. And then stopwatch is going to be a basic stopwatch like this. It vibrated. If I leave it and I talk a little bit and I come back in, it's still running in the background, which is really nice. You can pause it. You can do continue. You can do laps or intervals, and it's showing you what those intervals are right there. So a little bit more advanced stopwatch than we normally see. So those are pretty much the apps. So the thing we're going to do now, if you didn't do it at the very beginning when you set up your phone, you want to go into Assistant and you want to say Connect Phone. You're going to get this QR code that's unique to this watch. This is not the one you use to download the app. Use the link in the show notes from the Google Play Store to download the app to your phone, and then come over here when you're ready to set it up, like this. Now you got to figure, if we've got new apps in here like blood oxygen with red sensor diodes on it and sleep monitoring, we're going to need a new app that can actually transfer and work with that data, right? Well, you'd be right. GoFit is the updated version of the Tethering app for Android smartwatches these days, and here it is in the Google Play Store. We'll have a link in the show notes, and by the way, you can always get to it from inside your watch if you get into the Assistant, connect the phone. This is the QR code we're going to use, but hit that question mark up there. Oh, it's going to do that to me. There we go. And that is the QR code you can scan to download it. I don't recommend doing it this way, but you can, because it'll download the version from the China server. And if you go to the Google Play Store, you're assured that the software has actually been run through and checked by Google before you download it. So any which way you want, GoFit directly into the Google Play Store. Use the link in the show notes, which will take you to the Google Play Store, or in a pinch, download it using the QR code, scanning it with your phone right from the watch itself. Okay, I'm going to bow out of here because we're going to need that QR code here in a moment. We're going to do an install for you, and we're going to open it. And here we go. Wants to use my location. I'm going to turn that on while using the app. I need to turn this on as well, and finally turn on so it can record to the memory in the phone itself. Turn on contacts. Nah, I'm not going to allow that for right now. And look, I get a Chinese thing that hasn't been translated yet. So there's a few little bugs to be worked out. But here we are on the basic opening page, which has your tabs of what you're going to be accessing when you transfer the data. We want to add a device. Tap there. We get the little QR code window, right? Bring the watch over so it sees it. And it got a check mark, and it's now connected. The current app lacks necessary permissions. If I go into settings, I can set those permissions for phone calls and text messaging, notifications, that kind of stuff. Bailing out of it for right now. You notice it's filled out more cards in here as appropriate and related to the APPLLP 7 watch, which is the one we've got right here. And we're all connected. Now, word of warning, before I even did this, I went in and I made sure I have Bluetooth turned on in particular, but of course Wi-Fi, location services, we were doing all of that. When you're getting started, just make sure you come in here and turn Bluetooth on your watch to assure that it'll be able to pair and won't sit there and spin forever, making you think it's not going to connect. Bluetooth on, and do what we just did. There's some critical things I'm going to show you here in a moment, starting with this. Look, here's the tabs, but there's no data. It's completely empty. What's with that? I had data on the watch. You saw it all, right? I had last night's sleep time, heart rate, everything. Well, we're going to get to that, and it's a really important thing to know, so stick with me. At this point, all I'm able to do is show you what the data fields look like, but I don't have any data for you. Your heart rate would go here. It's a continuous chart, midnight to midnight, noon right in the middle. You can set a heart rate reminder. You can calculate what upper limit you want to use. And you can do real-time heart monitoring. Hit start, got the green diodes going, cover the sensor. Notice the watch is not shifting into any particular mode, and if it's timed out and it's a dark screen, it'll stay dark. But it is actually monitoring heart rate in the background. So if you want to watch your continuous heart rate, you'll be able to do that with this one. Taking a little long, perhaps I'm using my right hand. There we go, 80 beats per minute. And it'll continue doing this until you hit stop monitoring. So that's a nice feature that's built into the app that when you're tethered will be available for you. There's no data at all on here. I've got step count, and it shows you a bar chart for the number of steps per hour over your 24 hours, and you have monthly, weekly, yearly, and you can export all that data, typical to what we've seen. Weight, you can put in your weight in here and track your weight. It, of course, doesn't figure your weight out by wearing the watch. It's a manual entry. You notice it is in kilograms. There is, as we'll see later, an ability to change that to English or imperial and have it in pounds. You've got sleep. This is the last night's sleep chart, and it's the chart you saw on the watch because I had slept with it last night, and we got the bar or the box chart of all the different stages of sleep with other sleep data. Gone. It's gone, guys. It's gone from the watch. It's gone from here. Are you getting curious? You should be. It's scary. Then blood oxygen. I got a reading. I don't know why. I got a reading there. I got a reading there. The latest one showing here. I guess it tried to take one at 3 o'clock because the watch has been on since then. And there's the reading for it. And I don't have a way of taking one instantaneously from here. You have to do it from the watch. But you can set it up, of course, to do it on intervals or take it manually. And those are the tabs that we've got. You got a couple of other things. You've got an about over here, about us, visit a forum, clean the cache, basically about the app. It's not about you. And then you got the store, which is where we have, it's connecting to the server right now to bring down the different watch faces that are available, which is the same you get to when you press and hold and go over and hit that little plus sign when the watch is connected to the internet by Wi-Fi. Right now, it's not. As a result of what happened. Okay, you got hot ones, you got all different kinds. And of course, we're Bluetooth connected, so I could go over here and grab a new face like that one, download and apply. Please check network settings. Okay, I'm not all set up for it, but you could push from here, use the phone as a vehicle for pushing the watch face to the watch, but the watch would need to be on Wi-Fi for it to connect and pull it in directly. Okay, and it's just, yeah, get it all set up right and you'll be okay. So you got quite a few different watch faces to choose from, and they're constantly updating these as well. That's the dial. So what's the problem? Well, the problem comes in over here. I'm going to come over here, do not disturb, permission required to adjust the volume. All right, confirm that, gal fit, allow it. A lot of times I don't even know what I'm agreeing to, but there we go, just to keep it moving, and cancel out of it at this point. Cancel. Okay, here I could have the phone, SMS, WeChat. These are things that you can have notifications sent here. Not really what we were after, but I'm going to go in here to get to this page. Here we go. I can turn on silent mode, which is the same thing as coming down and hitting do not disturb. Set up the notices we just saw. Bright screen, this is the missing one I wish was on here, that you could toggle on or off to twist your wrist and see the time. Now it's turned on. Again, you could do that in settings. You saw that. We can set our target. We can find the device. It'll make a beeping sound. Auto measure in 5-minute increments, it looks like, from 5 minutes to an hour. The heart rate, same thing for blood oxygen, 1, 2, or 3 hour intervals, and it'll do that. Auxiliary input, where you can type stuff on your phone keyboard when you need to enter it here in case you don't want to use the tiny little keyboard on the phone. That's kind of a nice little feature for you. And overall unit metric switching, you can go to inch, they call it, for imperial, and then unbind, and then unbind. Hello? Are you with me? I need you for this part. You need this part. Unbind. Okay. This is the overall device page, right? We've got whatever data you've got on here. If you've taken pictures with the camera, if you've got music installed, if you've downloaded watch faces, if you got your Bitcoins on here, and you go over to the watch and you unbind it. Normally, all that is disconnecting the app from the watch, right? That's fine. Maybe you want to put it onto a different phone, whatever. But when you do it with this app and this watch and you confirm it, you immediately go into a factory restore on the watch. And not just a regular factory restore, a deep cleansing. This goes into boot loop, folks. There's a LOKMAT logo. It starts erasing. It erases a segment of it, and it reboots itself. And it does it again, and it does it again. And it loops, and I thought I was stuck. But after about 5 minutes, it finishes, and it'll actually boot back up again as a brand new, out-of-the-box watch. The time is not set. The initial watch face is the one that loads, and you have to start by choosing your language. Big fault in my book, and I lost. Fortunately, I only have the pictures I took for samples and the recording that I made just for fun. But if I had this thing loaded for bear and it wiped everything out just because I disconnected the Tethering app from the watch, I would be really, really upset. So, okay, now you can get back to whatever you were doing, but I wanted your attention just for that part. When you unbind the GoFit app from the watch it's connected to, it forces a factory restore on the watch. I went back and ran it a couple of more days just so I can show you some data. So here we go. In heart rate, this is what it looks like. Here it was yesterday. So you see you have a continuous chart going here. Shows you mid-noon right in the middle. We can't touch it, though, and get actual data rates at the specific points, but you do get this. You've got step count information. There's the bar chart that shows it and your totals. And again, you've got weight, which is inputted manually, so that doesn't change at all unless you do it. The app has no control over that. Here's a chart showing last night's sleep time, basic breakdown. Here's yesterday's chart. So it maintains these different charts on a daily basis if you sleep with the watch. And blood oxygen is shown every hour. And I've got last night or yesterday. Here's yesterday's. That was this morning's over there. And it's slightly changed, you see, 96 to 98. And that's listed there as well. So the data can transfer over. And I've got a workaround so you won't absolutely wipe out your data from the app and the watch. I'll be doing that in an upcoming video, probably available for my subscribers. So if you aren't subscribed yet, you might want to consider that. Now, those of you who've been around the channel a little bit know that I often save some of the best stuff and the critical stuff for the end. Well, this is no exception today. Here we are in the app drawer. I want to take you into the browser. Yeah, usually we replace that with, you name it, Firefox or Chrome oftentimes. But the basic browser, first of all, it's been updated a lot, doesn't look so much Chinese, and you opt right into Google. Now, this is what I wanted to show you more than the browser itself, although it looks like a functional browser. I can tap here and bring up the keyboard. Yep. We don't often look at the keyboard. The letters are all arranged in a way semicircularly here. You can change from your basic layout to your numbers and symbols and back again. You got the period sandwiched in between the send and the space bar, which is really awkward to hit, but that's the way it is. But the main thing, you've seen this before if you've played with these. The main thing is now we have a microphone up here, kinda. If I want to go in and use my voice to type in here, I should just be able to tap the microphone. And by golly, I fussed with this for hours. I would hit the letter and I'd back it out, and I cannot get the darn microphone to work. That's because it's turned off. Watch now. I'm going to bail out of this thing completely. come back over here to settings. Are you with me? Going to go down to settings all the way into system, languages. Here in language and inputs, you have languages and inputs. Now, in terms of languages, just to show you guys, we have a subset list. It's not as exhaustive and as extensive as it used to be on some of the watches, but it covers, I guess, the major languages that are being used. We're going to stick with English. Here's what I want to show you. In keyboards and inputs, we want to go into the virtual keyboard, and that's the keyboard we've got in English. I'm going to hit Manage Keyboards, and check it out. Here's the Google Voice typing. You got to turn it on. When you turn it on now, you'll have access to that microphone, and it'll work. Now we go back into the browser, or anything that needs a keyboard. Tap the microphone. What time is it in Shenzhen, China? I have to exit out of here too. That's another thing. And actually hit the thing. It doesn't time out. Okay, at this point it's at 5:32 a.m. And that's Google on the browser. So keyboard setup is something you're going to want to investigate as well. Now, finally, are you ready? The buttons. This one takes you back here. This one you could be deep into it and it'll take you back right away to the opening screen. Press long or double tap and nothing happens on this button. So nice button to think about using a button mapper app to make this like the flashlight if you double tap, or press and hold could be something else. That's totally dysfunctional except for the press to take you back to the watch face. This is on and off, as we all know, and long press is where the magic happens. Here's where you change from circle to square screen. If you don't know what that is, watch some of the other reviews on smartwatches, Android watches. Basically, it'll take a third-party app and put it in a square inside the circle, so if there's menu items in the corner you can't get to because they're off the screen, that will let you access them, but be sure to change it back if you want full screen display. Shutdown, reboot, those you all know. Mode switch. Now, in some of the earlier Android 9 and I believe 10 watches, you had an option at the top where you could get better battery life by changing the thing to a sports mode. Now it's hidden under the button over here. It basically has rebooted the watch and it's switched to sports mode, turning off some of the engines so you're not going to have access to all of your Wi-Fi and other kinds of things as you had in the past. And this is much smaller now. You only have control over brightness. By the way, we didn't show you brightness levels either. I guess we're sweeping it all up in one. Here you go. You got 5 different levels. I'm running it like at about 2. And you have airplane mode. You can go in and out of airplane mode if you need to. That's about it. And when you are in here and you go to your apps, look at this. You only have your biometrics, breathing, alarm clock, fitness. That's it. Setting up Bluetooth. Yeah, very, very limited. Assistant, of course, is tethering to your phone. Very limited. All your apps are gone. You have your activity for doing your exercise routines over here. And over here, no notifications, I guess. I don't understand that icon. And here you had your step count, music player, and that's all. No weather either. The weather's now been taken off. Trying to make it more power efficient. This is where you turn it off. If I long press this button, I have mode switch again down here, and only shutdown, reboot, and mode switch. And here I can turn it off as well. So 2 ways you can get back to your 4G mode in case you got stuck in it and didn't know how to get out of it. All right, last thing we saw here was the cleanup recent task. This is where you can switch quickly to anything you've had open before. And it's stuck in where we were. Continue. Okay. Oh, it started over again. I guess going through this mode switch and everything messed up the count. But anyway, that's where you can get to any of your already opened and recently used apps. And you can wipe one of them out if you want to, or you can clean them all up right there. Nothing to clear, nothing to see here. Now, I know there's a whole lot more stuff we could go into, like the music player, how does it sound, Bluetooth connection to earbuds, put an actual SIM card in it, make a phone call. We're not going to do that. We're on an unboxing, and we're just going to kind of show you the highlights of it. If you're interested in this watch, that's what we've accomplished today. If you're not, then you can move along to a different one. Some highlights to point out. One camera only, no front-facing camera, no selfie, no blogging directly, no video logging if you want. That's kind of sad, but they're really not hyping photography on this one. It's more of a dress watch. Nice loud speaker here. We heard that with the recorder. Music and everything else should sound just fine. You've got sensors for heart rate and blood oxygen back here now. And the charging system, we already showed you that as well. A nice carbon fiber solid back, it looks like. Screws holding it together. Yeah, really decent, basic introductory Android 9.1 smartwatch with a humongous amount of memory if you want it that way. 128 gigabytes of memory. Again, we can get this from TomTop, and I got the link in the show notes for you. Couple $100 gets you the full-blown 4 gig, which is a great amount of RAM to run multiple things at once, and 128 gigs of storage. But if you don't need all that, you can pick up the economy model for about 140, less if I can get you a coupon discount, that gets you a basic 2 gigabytes of RAM, which will let you run 1 or 2 apps. I mean, how many do you need to run on a watch at the same time, right? But it should be able to support the stopwatch running in the background and doing something else, maybe Google Maps or whatever. And 16 gigabytes of storage, so basically have enough for the operating system and some files and things, some music. You're not going to watch a huge Netflix series or something with this one. But those are the two options you have available, and gold or black are the colors you can select down here, and that's pretty much it for this one. Hope we've covered a lot of good stuff for you. Remember, if you go to our home site, smartwatchtics.com, I've got playlists with all the Android 9 watches on Android 10 grouped together so you can compare them. I've also got some tutorials on 1-minute lessons that you need to know on using these watches. Be sure you check those out. It'll save you lots of times of fussing with things that we all fall down the same rabbit hole. Well, this is the hole on the other end that you can climb out of. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate your thumbs up and your subscription. Those are the two things that help keep this channel going and helps folks like TomTop willing to send out a $200 watch to let me review it for you. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.